All right, we're ready for Coach Green. We'll make an opening statement, and then we'll open up for questions as always, Coach.
All right, thanks, Steve. Hope everybody is having a great week. First of all, I want to send congratulations to our women's tennis freshman, Sarah Hamner, for claiming the ITA All-American National Championship title over the weekend. That is really, really awesome. First Gamecock in program history to win that event. So congrats to Sarah. That is awesome. I know Coach Kevin Epley, does an amazing job with that program, and really excited to follow them as the year goes on and get out there and watch some tennis when things slow down over here for sure. Excited about being back home this weekend, homecoming. Would hope that we would have a fantastic crowd out there on Saturday. I hope our fan base appreciates our players and how they're playing, the effort they're playing with. Wasn't always pretty, obviously, in Knoxville on Saturday. Nobody's happy about being 3-3, but one thing that you can't question us on is our effort and how hard we're playing. And I hope our fans appreciate our players and the effort that they're playing with and the fight that they're playing with. And there's no better way to show our guys that than being in that stadium on Saturday afternoon. And like I said after the Troy game, if you're a fan and you have season tickets and you're not using your tickets this weekend, please give them to somebody. Please. I'm doing that myself. If for tickets that anybody doesn't have, getting the word out. We love to we should have an amazing atmosphere in there on Saturday. So please get those tickets out. We got 4 home games left, and we're at the halfway point of the regular season. We got 4 home games left, and I hope none of us take for granted what a Saturday afternoon in Columbia, South Carolina, and in Williams-Brice Stadium means. After everything that we went through last year, 2020, and not being in full stadiums, to not take full advantage of a packed Williams-Brice Stadium, a Saturday afternoon in Columbia, fair or no fair going on, would be a real shame if we don't have an amazing atmosphere on Saturday. So hope our fan base will appreciates our players and the effort they're playing with, and won't take for granted what it means to come together as Gamecock Nation on Saturdays in Columbia, South Carolina. And then also to honor our Hall of Famers this weekend. Obviously, multiple Hall of Famers in multiple sports, but from a football standpoint, Mike Dura and John Abraham, and then our own Connor Shaw. So we certainly appreciate what those guys have meant to Carolina athletics and Carolina football, and certainly would hope that we'd have an amazing crowd on Saturday to honor those guys. We've got some recruits that'll be here on official visits. We've got a lot of recruits that'll be here for unofficial visits. So we'd love to show them what we talk about. We got the greatest home field advantage in America, and that's not just for certain games. That should be for every game. So hope that we'll see our fan base show up on Saturday for that, because we will certainly need them. Got an improving Vanderbilt team coming in here for sure. Got a lot of respect for Clark Lee, their new head football coach, somebody that I've followed his career for a long time and think a lot of personally. Guy that played at Vanderbilt and takes great pride in that program, that's been around winning programs, coming from Notre Dame. Somebody that had gotten to know and bumped into a couple times on the recruiting trail throughout my career. I think the first time I met him was at DeMatha, Marshawn Lloyd's alma mater. He was up there, and we were both in the school at the same time, and I met him. And then during when COVID hit last spring and everything got shut down, myself, like a lot of coaches, really took that time to network and develop professionally. And I've talked a lot about how I had some conversations with Pete Limbo during that time and getting to know him and just talking football, and did the same thing with Clark as well, and think a lot of him and his stamp on that program is very evident. They're playing with great effort. Defensively, they start 3 seniors in the secondary. The length that they have on their defense and size will be a problem, as a matchup for a lot of teams, a matchup problem. They're Sam / nickel, whereas we play with David Spalding and Carlin Patel at that Sam linebacker / nickel position. They play with 2 guys that look like Jordan Strawn out there, 6'4", 230-pound type guys. We certainly, against Kentucky has some defensive ends, outside linebackers with length, and Vanderbilt does as well, but bigger, 6'5" and 6'6". Their top 4 defensive ends. So it'll be a big challenge for our offensive tackles and our tight ends handling Vanderbilt's size and length on the perimeter, and then the physicality they play with. They play really, really hard, and that's very obvious when you turn on the tape. Offensively, I think 2 of the top 10 receivers in the SEC in receptions per game are on Vanderbilt's roster. So they've got some receivers with size as well. I know they got their best running back hurt, but the guy that's playing for them right now breaks a lot of tackles and is a really physical runner. And Stanford, one thing about Stanford, I know Stanford plays good defense, and Vanderbilt lined up and rushed the ball for 247 yards against Stanford earlier in the season. 247 yards against Stanford. And we certainly haven't been our best at stopping the run against Kentucky and Tennessee the last 2 weeks, so it's a big challenge for our defense to play gap sound football, play physical football, create some turnovers, which we didn't do in Knoxville, and we'll play well. And then special teams-wise, always a challenge. These guys do a nice job. As a matter of fact, this special teams coordinator at Vanderbilt worked for Coach Limbo when Coach Limbo was the head coach at Ball State. So we've been kidding him. It's a little bit of a teacher versus pupil matchup this weekend. So certainly he's ready for this one, and we've got to put together a great plan to go compete and try and win that phase against these guys at all. They had opportunities against Florida last weekend, 14-0 going in the score, and they turned the ball over. And then right before the half, they got a 1st and goal on the 1-yard line and aren't able to punch it in for a touchdown. You get a score there, and who knows what happens. So they're a team that's improving by the week. That's obvious when you turn on the video, and has a lot of fight in them. On the road against Colorado State early in the season, down 14-0, and came back and won the football game. So we expect another physical 4-quarter battle this Saturday in Columbia, and off to a great start in practice this week. And looking forward to Saturday. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions. Let me guess, we're going to David first over here in the top, right? No? We are now. All right, let's go, Dave. We're not changing routine.
Thanks, Shane. You hear a lot when it comes to looking at play callers about the feel, the flow of the game. How do you think Marcus has handled that this year, and is it still a thing that you have to work up to during the course of the season?
I think you're learning your team. It's not like he's never called plays before. He was a head coach and called plays. He called plays for a highly successful Temple team with Matt Rule, and somebody that has experience. This isn't like the first time that he's called plays or Clayton White has called plays. I think each game is different, and each opponent is different, but certainly feel like he has a good feel, and we've got to continue to get the right plays called and execute the plays when they're called.
Shane, just a little while ago, Luke came in, was asked about the progression of the offense, and he said, have you seen progress? And he said, absolutely. I know naturally people will get caught up on the stats and say, well, they haven't made progress. Can you kind of go further and explain when he says absolutely and some of the progress you've seen since the beginning of training camp to heading into this week?
Yeah, we have made progress. We're close. Nobody's happy with 3-3, and nobody's happy statistically where we are from an offensive standpoint, and even certain things from a defensive, special teams, overall team standpoint. But have seen progress, and give Tennessee credit. They played well on Saturday, but I'm sure you guys have all gone back and probably watched the replay of the game and watched play after play after play from Saturday. I'm sure you did with the jobs that you guys have, and there were a lot of plays out there that, for whatever reason, receivers open and we weren't able to connect or weren't able to protect long enough, or runs that were this close to being an explosive play. So is it good enough? No. Do we have to constantly continue to work to improve? Sure, but I've seen progress. I mean, we did a lot of really good things on Saturday, not in the first quarter, and but if you look at from the, not making light of the first quarter because that can't happen, but once that quarter ended, quarters 2, 3, and 4, did a lot of really good stuff. It wasn't good enough. We lost the football game. There's no moral victories, but there is a lot that I hope we can build upon, and the biggest thing is just trying to constantly develop depth and continue to get some continuity at certain positions, quarterback being one of them, the continuity part of it.
Hey, Shane, after the game on Saturday, Luke was asked about the offensive struggles with starting games slowly. He mentioned that he felt like there wasn't a real sense of urgency and putting that on himself to kind of bring more urgency to the first quarter. I was wondering, A, if you were seeing the same thing, if you're sensing a lack of urgency, and if so, how surprising that is at the midpoint of the season to see that issue in the first quarter.
I'm not. I don't see that at all. The sense of urgency. Maybe Luke feels that way about himself, but I don't. We had a I sit it and it's not just press conference talk and coach speak. I mean, we had an amazing week of practice last week. Physical, focused. The Friday walkthrough was the best we've had. The meetings in the hotel on Friday, very focused, very efficient. The meetings / walkthrough in the hotel Saturday morning, we were up early, we were into it. We made a big point of emphasis about being even more detailed and efficient and urgent in pregame warm-ups, and we were. The locker room pregame was fantastic. So, no, I felt, if anything, we had more of a sense of urgency than we've ever had. Now, maybe Luke felt that way individually, but we were ready to play. It doesn't look like it based on the way we played in the first quarter, but we had the preparation. I don't think we as coaches could have felt like it went any better, which is still head-scratching that we played like we did in the first quarter. And there's a lot of different reasons of what happened in the first quarter and why it did, and chances to sustain drives offensively on third down and we didn't get it done or whatever it might be. But you're always looking at ways to start better, because I'll be the first to admit that we haven't been as good in the first quarter as we need to be. There's no mistake in that. But it wasn't, from the way I see it, and we've talked about it as a staff, it doesn't have anything to do with lack of urgency starting the game.
Shane, you're now halfway through your first full season at South Carolina. Where do you feel like you've learned about this team and you specifically as a coach these first 6 games?
Team-wise, got a bunch of great young men that'll fight their butts off every single game. You see that. Whether you go back to East Carolina and overcoming adversity and the way we fought at Georgia throughout the game, Kentucky, the way we battled, lack of effort and lack of physicality aren't concerns with this team. So I've certainly learned that about our guys, how much they fight and how much they really enjoy being around each other and coming to work each day, which I appreciate. And then me, I don't know. I mean, every week's different, Colin, or every week I'm just so focused on that task at hand that week and doing everything we have to do in those 7 days or 6 days leading up to each opponent that I really haven't taken a whole lot of time. I mean, certainly after every game you look back at decisions you made and were they the right decision, were they the wrong decision, not just during the game, but everything that you do during the week. And I've said it before, meticulous note taker and write down everything and constantly evaluating myself and what I'm talking to the team about and how we're doing things. So I think you're just constantly learning as the season goes. As far as any specific things, I don't know, nothing that really jumps out right now. I think it's probably just a host of things that each week you get a little bit more and more comfortable and more understanding of what this job entails.
Nick was just in here saying he doesn't feel his individual performance has been good enough. And for you, as we go into the second half of the season, what would you like to see more from him going forward?
I think it's good to hear him say that. I don't think anybody right now should be comfortable with their individual performances, and we should all strive to be better. We talk as a team about trying to improve and improving every practice, and certainly none of us have been good enough. I think with Nick, it's certainly, he would probably say just in the run blocking, sustaining blocks and finishing blocks. We're asking a lot of him and the tight ends from perimeter blocking, the things we're asking them to do out on the perimeter when we throw the ball outside, or we've gotten the ball outside some, to Juju and Kevin and our backs, perimeter blocking, and then we're also asking them to put their hand in the ground and block 270-pound defensive linemen in the SEC. So there's a lot of different things, and that's why the tight end position is so cool, because you do so many different things. And so there's a lot that our tight ends have to do. But that's probably the one thing Nick would probably say that, and that jumps out to me, is just continuing to be, which is not easy, continuing to be dominant and sustain blocks in the run game. And then when he gets opportunities in the passing game, continue to do a great job of catching the ball and making yards after contact.
I know you guys as coaches are pretty well insulated from outside noise and all that stuff, but obviously players are I guess, more susceptible to it. How do you guys try to kind of keep them focused on what you've got going on and trying to tune out some of the outside voices, variables, factors that you
worry about what we can control, and that's coming in this building. And we know what we have in this building. We know what we know the work that we've put into it since since January. When I got hired and we started this 2021 football team, we know what we have. We know what we've been through. We know what we got, and that's what matters to us. You want to play in the SEC where you do have that attention, and when you win in this league, things are certainly magnified, and you're great. When you lose in this league, things are obviously magnified and you're not so great, and worrying about, what we can control. I saw we've used this quote with our players some this week. I saw it, I think it was Mel Tucker, who I worked with at Georgia. I saw him say it, but starve your distractions and feed your focus. So we're trying to starve ourselves of distraction and social media and whatnot and feed our focus, which is doing everything that we can to get better as a football team and get better as individuals as we go into this week. It's week to week in this business, and we're not happy. We're 3-3. We're halfway through the season. We've lost 3 games by teams whose combined record is 16-2. We've battled our butts off in every single game, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let one bad quarter against Tennessee define what the second half of this season is going to look like. If we got a bunch of competitors, you'll see a team that'll fight their butts off here the rest of the season and compete and enjoy playing for each other and playing for this university.
Shane, I think I initially noticed it might have been late second quarter, maybe right out of coming out of the locker room at halftime, but obviously the scoreboard wasn't in your guys' favor, but guys were making a play and you got super fired up on the sideline. How easy is it for you to kind of not look at the scoreboard during the game like that when guys are making plays the way you guys are obviously coaching them up to do? And then, two, is it important for you to have that on the sideline personality during the game?
Yeah. I'm going to be me. And, when I talk about positive energy and gratitude and all these things that we talk about, that's not just when things are going well. That's got to be in all times also. And it's not easy to do, but we always talk about don't worry about the scoreboard, just play and just compete. And when we went at halftime, we weren't happy with where things were, but we were still – I felt very confident about our ability to go back out there and play in the second half and make some plays. So we don't want to be driven by what the scoreboard says and be like results oriented. We're very just go out there and compete each and every play and don't worry about the scoreboard, and the scoreboard will take care of itself. And then as far as like being excited and celebrating, I'm never going to be a guy that, I'm only going to be excited and celebrate with our guys when things are going well and we're winning. I mean, that's at all times as well. And if I'm not doing that when the scoreboard is not in our favor, then I'm not being very real. And really just gets down for me. I love seeing our guys have success. And I know how much work they put into it out there on the practice field, how much work they put into it in the weight room. So to see them have success during games, that's what it's all about. And that's strictly what my energy, excitement was as well. Somebody sent me a thing. I guess, it's legendary. My dad's reaction of the Wake Forest game when it's 0-0, and it will never, ever go away. But I guess I've created a new one because there's a shot of me celebrating when it's 35-7. But you know what? I really don't care. That's me, and it'll always be me. Hopefully there's not too many instances where it's 35-7 and I'm like that, but I'm always going to celebrate with our guys and be happy for them when they make plays. I mean, I love these kids, love these young men in this program, and love seeing them have success, but love also seeing them go out there and battle their tails off when the scoreboard wasn't what you wanted it to be, and that game could have easily gotten away from us and from a lot of teams, and we didn't let it happen.
Well, let me first compliment you. Your biceps look pretty big in that photo, though.
Thank you. We'll give him a few questions. So thank Chip Morton and Luke Day for anything. Their little workout routine they've put me in was really just to keep in shape. Now all of a sudden, like, clothes don't fit and stuff like that because of what they're doing in the weight room. But thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Is your confidence in how successful this offense can be taking any kind of hit over the results of the first 6 games? And what kind of gives you the confidence that y'all can start hitting on those plays that you say you are there that y'all just keep missing on by just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's continuing to work and execute. But no, my confidence hasn't taken a hit. The same group that I was confident about going into the season is the same group that's out there right now. And in preseason, I've talked about injuries, and we're halfway through the season, so I'm not talking about guys that weren't there during preseason camp. But we were excited about Kevin Harris and Marshawn and Juju and Zaquandre and those guys going into the season. They're still there and still are. We were excited about Jaheim and Nick and Travion Kenyon and those guys, and they're still there. E.J. Jenkins, Van, Joyner, Brooks, all of our receivers, they're still there. Our offensive line, we've had a little bit of lack of continuity on the left side a little bit, but all the pieces that I was excited about going into the season are still out there, are still here and a part of it. And I just see those guys continue to get better and improve during practice. I see backup offensive linemen or second group offensive linemen get in there on Saturday, like Wanamaker and Vinny Murphy and those guys, and play well. I see Hank Manos and the way that he gets better in practice, and on and on and on. So, no, I'm not happy with where we are. Nobody is. But the group that I was excited about coming into the season, we still are. They're still there.
Hey, Coach. Kevin had his best game rushing against Tennessee. He had 2 touchdowns and 61 yards, I believe. How promising is it to see that he's kind of getting his legs back and he's getting better week to week and, just towards the rest of the season when you look towards the second half of the season? Yeah,
very much so. We're going to need him. We're going to need all those running backs to continue to get better as it goes on. And he had some really good runs on Saturday, and we've got to continue to bring him along and continue to get this running game going. And our offensive line did some good things on Saturday, and I thought they did a better job of sustaining blocks and finishing blocks downfield. And when you do that, your running game's going to look better, and we got to continue to do that.
Shane, I think the win streak over Vanderbilt for you guys goes back to when you were here as an assistant. Do you kind of balance that line between, allowing the guys to feel confidence knowing they've had success against them with warnings about, hey, we still have to go out there and make it happen?
Yeah, because I was here. I don't know if I think it was 07. I remember getting beat.
Fair was here too.
Huh?
It was fair weekend too.
Was it? Yeah, you're scaring me now. But no, I remember going up to Chapel Hill, North Carolina the week before. We beat a good North Carolina team. We were 6-1. We were feeling pretty good about ourselves, and we came back here and lost to Vanderbilt at home and had a bunch of pre-snap penalties and didn't play well. So I was here for that. And then I remember what happened after that as well, which wasn't fun after the rest of the season. But every year is different. They've had a lot of coaches since then. South Carolina's had some different coaches since then. It's a new Carolina this year. It's a new Vanderbilt. Certainly, to answer your question, you want your guys confident, but I would hope when our guys turn on the tape, they also see the physicality they play with and the size, particularly on defense, that they have. And that should get our guys' attention. But, we're always going to there's a great, healthy respect for every opponent that we play, and then every single week, whether you're playing Vanderbilt or whether we're playing Georgia or whether we're playing Alabama, every single week is let's do our very best to be at our very best on Saturday, and worry about ourselves also each and every week.
Whether it's getting some of the skill guys more involved or playing other guys in other areas, getting some more snaps, is there anybody else that you feel like has earned some more playing time and should play more, I guess, this last half of the season?
Yeah, I'd see a bunch of guys. If you watch closely on Saturday, we played a couple more defensive linemen than we normally do at the tackle position. You saw Devontae Davis and you saw MJ Webb in there a little bit more. They're doing a nice job. Joey Hunter got in there from a special team standpoint on Saturday and did some good things. Offensive line, mentioned those guys. All those quarterbacks continue to compete and get better, and they're all pushing each other. Jason, Colton, Luke, Zeb, they all are. So I think there's a lot of guys. On Sunday evenings before I come in and do the teleconference with you guys, the last thing that we do is basically it's not really a scrimmage, but it's 11 on 11, and it's a lot of those young guys that we're trying to develop that maybe didn't play a lot the day before in the game, and they basically go against each other in a team period, and those are some spirited, competitive, get after it sessions in practice, watching those guys compete and get better. I mean, we showed a video to the team this morning in the team meeting of it just to make sure they saw how guys like Rashad Amos are running the football in that period, how Tyreek Johnson is doing a great job of getting off blocks and making tackles, how Tyshawn Wanamaker, Vinny Murphy, Hank, Trey Jones, all those guys, the way they're working on the offensive line. So we're halfway through the season. I mean, you would hope that over the next 6 games, since we're at the halfway point, you would have a lot of guys continue to get better and take their game to a higher level. And if they do, we'll do nothing but get better as a football team.
Shane, 2 questions. Do you anticipate rotating more offensive linemen into it through the game? And second of all, how close are you to figuring out maybe this offensive identity and what you guys major in over the course of the next 6 games?
As far as offensive linemen, I think each week's different. Those guys are certainly practicing well, and we'll base a lot of it off practice. But I think those guys have shown that they can play at a really high level when they go in the game, and that was good to see. So we've got total confidence in those guys. And then, as far as identity, it's not like each week we're running a lot of different plays. I mean, we're doing a lot of the same stuff each and every week, and it's not like, oh crap, this didn't work against Troy, let's try this whole new run scheme. I mean, every week we line up and we run inside zone, we line up and run what teams call duo, we line up and run outside zone. We've mixed in some pin and pull. We ran some counter the other day against Tennessee. So those are, our base runs that we're always going to hang our hat on. And then a lot of the concepts that we're doing in the passing game are the same ones that we, throw week after week. I mean, a lot of the pass concepts we threw against Tennessee the other day are the same ones we threw against Eastern Illinois in game 1. But as the year goes on, we just want to be able to more definitively impose our will on people in regards to being able to run the football when we need to run it and throw it when we need to throw it.
Hey, Shane, you kind of touched on it a second ago with the second half of the season, wanting to see individual guys' improvement. But as a team, beyond the record, what are you going to be looking for out of this team in the final 6 games that's going to let you know what you're building is starting to take root in season 1?
I think for us, it's just maximize the potential of this team, and I've told you guys that since July and August that to me is a successful season, and if we can be the very best 2021 South Carolina football team, whatever that is, I'll be happy. And then I'm seeing tons of signs of what we're doing is guys buying in. All you got to do is watch the effort we play with every Saturday and know that these guys are playing their butts off and are enjoying being a part of this.
Wanted to check on Cam Smith and Jalen Nichols. Are either one of them available Saturday?
Yeah, they both practiced today. They should both be full go for Saturday. They were out there today full go. So unless something happens between now and Saturday, they should be totally fine. Yeah, I forgot to mention injuries. We're fine, knock on wood. We're injury-wise. We're in great shape. Like I told you the other day, a bunch of bumps and bruises. That was a physical game against Tennessee, but no one was limited in practice that wasn't a usual, suspect that had been out previously, or that wasn't not out previously, I should say.
And just to follow up with that, I know Vershawn Lee was the offensive lineman of the game a couple of weeks ago. Do you think he keeps his starting spot at left guard, or is that something you evaluate?
Yeah, it's something in practice. Again, we're all about competition, and that's every single position on the team, from quarterback to defensive tackle to whatever. The guys that continually give us the best chance to play and compete and practice the right way are the ones that are going to be out there. So, yes, Vershawn played well against Tennessee, certainly had some plays he would like to have back like we all did, but I would anticipate that going forward, for this week, assuming he continues to practice the right way as well. But a lot of those guys that can play that guard position, whether it be Vinny, Hank, Jalen, all those guys are practicing well also. And we've got some great competition going at a lot of different positions right now. Okay, thanks. Have a great week, guys.